best place from which to live, work, and play. We always take the cliches from the city of Riviera Beach, but with all sincerity, I want to welcome everyone to another edition of Coffee Talk, for it is truly the talk show that loves to talk to you. And each and every Sunday morning, we make a serious attempt to go out into the community and try to find those who are genuinely concerned with the well-being of our community. And when I say our community, I'm talking about Palm Beach County. We know that there are 67 counties in the state of Florida, and Palm Beach County, the one that we live in, it is the baddest, the boldest, the bravest, and I think it's one of the ones that's going to surface in a little bit to prove itself to be one of the leaders in the world of academia. But as always, I have to extend the right hand of fellowship. I don't know what happened to my pastor, but I'm going to have to continue to reach back out to it. But in the meantime, our pitch hitter, Mr. Tommy Walker.
Good morning, Palm Beach County.
And the reason why I come at you so hard, Mr. Walker, I see the sincerity that comes from your efforts inside of the community. I mean, I just look at the one that sticks with me all the time, how you went back into the community and you started adopting children. And I don't think, I mean, there's very few men that I know would go in there one time. You went in there several times. And I think the example that you put forward for us as a community and as a people, I think is a great one. If no one else, they'll never give you that kind of appreciation.
Thank you. You know, that's what it's all about. And we can sit here and we can talk about our beach, we can talk about all the problems, but the education of our children, getting them out in Front Street, that's our main goal. That's my main goal, is to make sure our children have a proper education.
And well, you know, as we continue to look at this thing called education, or this thing called learning, we know that all of us as human beings, we come onto this planet the same way, not knowing anything. And then we meet people, and those people are right on our computer. And then, you know, when you put garbage in, you get garbage out. So what we try to do is try to find those who have some kind of means or some kind of structure in their thinking to help us to better understand the situation in which we are living in. Now, today we're going to go a little bit different. You know, this is a non-biased political program, but when we say education, people don't really understand that word. Education means all your politics. Well, it means every sphere of human endeavor, because I don't care whether you're a doctor, lawyer, physicist, or whatever, you got to go to school. And when we look at the learning process, we see that we got some holes in it. So today, we went up to Lake Park, and we're going to talk to some of our family members out of Lake Park with hopes that, because see, like I got to be honest with you,
Don't do it.
No,
Don't do it.
See, you don't want me to never tell the truth, but I got to tell the truth. I reached out last week to our state senator, right? And I was looking forward. I know he came in with a long list, but I got some more questions that I didn't get answered. And I know you don't want me to go in that direction, but I got to, man. The only way I believe we'll be able to really move this vehicle forward is that we're going to have to speak truth to each other. And when we see things that we shouldn't see, you know, a pot in the road, a hole in the road, or when we see different things that are going to affect our travel, I think we're going to have to share that kind of information with one another if we want this journey to be a smooth transition. And I'm not saying anything wrong, but it's just that I didn't hear any tangible products that came back to us as a result of us sending different people to represent us in different corridors of understanding. And when I say that, I'm still looking at Palm Beach County in its totality, because I don't know a politician that really come to us and talk to us personally. And I'm extending the right hand of fellowship just in case there might be one in Palm Beach County. And when I say what I'm saying, I'm just as serious as humanly possible, and I'm just as direct as humanly possible, because I think we're in a window right now where we can no longer allow people to come in and say that they're representing us and then don't even know us. You know, that kind of activity is creating major problems. And with the advent, and people don't like this one, with the advent of us retrieving Mr. Trump as our president, and with Mr. Trump being the only president that I know that spoke specifically to the problems of African Americans, I think he's kind of leading in political direction. Although we don't, I mean, I know a lot of people got that little baggage with their thinking, but I just think some of the thoughts that come out of different places, we should explore them, because everybody carries good and evil. I mean, we're good and bad.
Now is the time to be about it, not just talk about it. Yeah, we're in that window. We have that opportunity now to make our own plans and do our own things. That, like Brother Carl said, we can't have people around here representing us and not doing anything about it. We about it now. We've been educated to know that we've been miseducated. We know where the problems are. Now it's time for our leaders just to go and fix those problems or make a tangible effort to go and correct them and put them on the table so we can be better as a people.
At least so we could see them.
Yeah.
But you know, today we're going to go over to Lake Park, and you know, inside of the direction that's been here in Palm Beach County for the past, I say, 15, 20 years, we've been scoping, focusing our energy on trying to develop our community and those entities that operate outside of the school district to try to find some partners, if you will, or some people that might have some good things that they're doing. And when we bring different people in the room, the idea is to have you to unpack. You know, I always give the illusion, you know, back in the old radio, I got a little age on me, but I can remember when radio wasn't on television, so you had to do all of your imagery through allowing people the opportunity to use their own brain. And when I say unpack, you know, we sent Bobby to the Tallahassee.
Yep.
And when he went to Tallahassee, we hoped that he took his suitcase with his clothes in it, but we also hoped that he had an empty suitcase to pick up all of the valuable information that the senators, the representatives, and everybody that's supposed to be in political power have for us. Some kind of initiative, some kind of. So when I say unpack, this is a parent program. I'm going to let you introduce it. And I want to see exactly what you're doing in Lake Park. Maybe Lake Park might have something that the rest of us need to take a look at. Or it might be something that we might need to score.
I
just don't want you to be scared.
Let me introduce myself first of all. My name is Joe Rice, and I am the Executive Director of Parent to Parent Group, Inc. Okay, we're a parental action service agency, and to best explain it, let me go back to what was said earlier about educate. Okay, when you go to the etymological root of the word educate, we get to draw out of.
And Duco.
To draw out of, exactly. So he also spoke about Senator Powell. This is an example of drawing out of our community. And what we're trying to do is draw the best out of our community to represent, to be able to turn these keys over to in the future.
Absolutely.
Okay? Because we're laying the foundation with the building blocks. But we got to turn this key over eventually. Who do we turn it over to? Our children. So it starts with the children. Okay. So what we do, I'll give you a little history. We came out of a program called Strong Starts Dialogue Group. It's ran by Everyday Democracy. This was about 2 years ago. Our topic was kindergarten readiness. So it's a 6-week dialogue group. At the end of the dialogue group, you have an action item. Okay, so you don't just talk about it. What are we going to do about it? Absolutely. At the end of this, we spent 5 weeks talking about this.
Okay.
What's going to be our action? So we decided to poll the town of Lake Park to see where we were at with kindergarten readiness. Now, part of this group, we had early childhood development specialists, we had kindergarten teachers, because at the end of the day, without that communication with them, who knows better of what a prepared child looks like than the kindergarten teacher? Okay, so we polled the town of Lake Park, and we found that there were some issues with kindergarten readiness. I think the last poll, and this is Cindi Castle, and she's our program director, and she was speaking with me yesterday, and I think it was something like 30%, you said, in Palm Beach County that weren't ready. Well, that's 30% too many. That's 30% too much. If one kid is not ready for kindergarten, that's one kid too many. Okay, so at the end of the dialogue group, we did the action item. It was supposed to be, okay, that's it. We've completed the Strong Starts Dialogue group. So a few of the parents, along with myself, says, wait a minute, we can't just tell the people your kid's not ready for kindergarten and that's it, okay? So we decided to keep meeting over the next few months to try to figure out what can we do. This is a motion now. There's something happening now. There's something stirring in the community with the parents.
Lake Park, y'all.
This is Lake Park. This is Lake Park. So,
right next door.
Right.
So we continue to meet. and we met for about a year and a half. We didn't receive our 501c3 until April of this year.
Okay.
So we was doing this, just meeting with the parents, and we found a need, and we found an avenue to attack this issue head on. And that starts with preparing the parents to be their children's first educator at home. We're very quick to point our fingers at the teachers, the school board, different committees, the politicians. We blame everyone for our children except for the parents, and we need to be held accountable, and we need to hold our community accountable for raising their children. Now, this is not in a harsh way, as the brother was saying, Brother Carl was saying, it's not a harsh way, but if we don't focus on our children's early childhood development, we lose them from the beginning.
Absolutely.
We know for a fact that you learn more in your first 3 years of life than you ever will. Mm-hmm. Everything's new to you. So you're learning everything new. And this is a critical time to implement the things that's going to carry this child further through life. And we know that if a child's not ready for kindergarten, okay, he's held back he's starting from a disadvantage. Okay. His chances of graduating high school, it plummets.
Well, one of the things that I always look at, when you say 5, you could say 5 ones, that's 5. Mm-hmm. 2 and 3, that's 5. 4 and 1 is 5. 5 is 5. Mm-hmm. And I look at many different ways to approach such problems that are existing inside of our community. And what I always try to do when I bring you to the studio room is to actually show your apparatus and what possible successes you're having. Because, what you're talking about, we here in Palm Beach County, we've been working feverishly for the past 15, 20 years, working directly with what you're talking about. And we've worked so hard that we even got a partnership with the school district itself. Mm-hmm. And what that is one of the areas by which we kind of cover, which is parent involvement. But I always look around inside of our community to see if there's something already working. Mm-hmm. And then possibly we could come in and do a little, take them a little practice with one another.
It can only get better. Listen, at this point right now, we have roughly 70 parents on our master roster, okay? That's over 150 children that we're reaching. And with our different programs, we don't only have kindergarten readiness. We do other programs. We're starting a financial 101 for the parents. We also have a computer entry program or computer basics program that we're implementing. So there's the toddler time, which is ran by Cindi. So these are the different programs that we're implementing because although we use the kindergarten readiness checklist and sight words and things like that, we're not an academic-based program. Okay. We try to, like you say, incorporate a full wellness program as far as social skills. The bonding between parent and child. Okay, our theme is bubbles, for instance. And people go, why are you always blowing these bubbles? What's with these bubbles, Joe? Everywhere you go, you got the bubble machine. You're giving kids bubbles. People don't understand the benefits of bubble play. The children are learning hand-eye coordination. They're learning hand-foot coordination, gross motor skills, fine motor skills. Mm-hmm. They're learning to respect space when they're running around grabbing the bubbles, and it's these type of things that we're trying to implement. So anything that has already been implemented that's working or new ideas, we welcome with open arms. Mm-hmm.
Well, most of the time, what has been the biggest problem inside of Palm Beach County, really in the state of Florida, is the communication. And for the superintendent task force, I was communication and public relations subcommittee chairperson. So I got opportunity for years to deal with the school board members and the superintendent and others around, not just here in Palm Beach County, but around the state and around the United States, because we here in Palm Beach County, we've been taking our show on the road. We go to New York, Washington. We've even been out to California with this message. But still, inside of a vehicle that you're moving forward, there's a lot of different controls. You know what I mean? Like when we get in these new cars, they got new buttons.
New buttons to push all the time.
Just to relax you in a way that you never thought that you possibly could. So when I talk to you about the programming that you're putting forward, I'm just trying to open up the window, if you will, for Lake Park, because be real about it, you very seldom hear about Lake Park. Although,
And why is that?
Until
Why is that?
Because
Why
y'all
do you think
quiet.
that is?
Y'all
why
keep
do I think
quiet.
that is? Well, I think really you have a diverse population, and when you're trying to communicate with people, usually you have to speak the language of the people that you go to. And when we have these barriers that are, I ain't gonna say that they're real, but many of them are artificial, but you still have to spend a certain amount of time in order to correct different ills that different set groups have within their being. And I know that human beings are human beings, but all of us, based on the word equity, we have to look at a lot of different things.
So I'm so happy you brought that piece in, because in Lake Park currently we have about 50% of our population is Creole speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So with parent-to-parent group, my Creole is very limited. It's Kisa, no, that's it.
Okay.
So in our parent-to-parent group, we have Creole-speaking families. Some speak English beautifully, some speak very little English. So we have a parent liaison that is Creole and English speaking
Mhm.
that volunteered to translate.
Mhm.
So during these monthly meetings, she comes every month, and if she's not there, we'll get one of the other parents, because they've gotten really comfortable with each other, that will actually translate for us when we're showing a video about how to do flashcards with your kids at home, or when we're giving whatever the topic is for that month's meeting. We have people from our community that are part of the P2P group that will translate. We also have, on our board, we have a parent representative, and we also have one of our board members, which is Creole speaking as well. So we didn't want to be exclusive, we wanted to be inclusive.
Mhm.
We have Spanish speaking parents there, we have
Samoan.
Samoan, I was trying to
families.
think of the
Yes,
proper
yeah.
term.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a variety.
You said something I always say, and I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
You said something I always say. You have to speak the language of the people.
Right.
Not literally, okay? But if you're distant from the people that you're trying to assist,
Mhm.
or a community that you're trying to assist, you'll never help them,
Right.
okay? A person can't learn from you until they believe that you have their best interests at heart.
Okay.
Okay, so when I asked you, why do you think that disconnect is? Okay, that disconnect from a lack of being able to communicate with each other.
Absolutely.
Whether that be language barrier or just programs set for a certain demographic.
Mhm.
Okay, a lot of even the grants, the way they're set up is, well, what community do you want to serve?
Mm-hmm.
The community I live in.
Okay.
Okay, and that community goes from the block that I live on, no, or the house that I live on, to the block that I live on, to the town that I live in, to the county that I live in, to the state that I live in.
Mhm.
Okay, so it's a broader picture, and when when there's a breakdown in that communication, whether it be exchanging of ideas, financial, okay, or whatever the breakdown is, until that barrier is crossed, that line that we imagine is there, until that's crossed, the problem can't be fixed.
Mhm.
Okay, you have people that have issues, okay, and they don't know who to turn to. I'm on the planning and zoning board for the town of Lake Park. I speak to a lot of people who complain about things that would be issues that I know about or that would come in front of my board. They don't know that I'm a part of the planning and zoning board.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know their local elected officials, their appointed officials.
Mhm.
They don't know what is the process of getting something in front of a board. These are things that we need to relate to the parents
Mhm.
so that they can properly integrate themselves into a community that's so diverse as not only Lake Park, but the entire West Palm Beach County.
Mhm.
So this is the focus that we are, or the task that we're taking on, because without that communication, without that bridging that gap, we're going to continue to chase our tails.
Mhm.
And will there be success in pockets of the community? Absolutely. But I always tell people this: if I have 10 children, 5 of them are prepared for kindergarten and 5 aren't. You know what happens, right?
Yeah.
They get in that class and that teacher has to go back to square one because she has to start with the least of them
Mhm.
to bring them up to speed so that now she can go with her planned agenda. Okay, so now You're 2 months in, bringing these kids up. Now, the kids that were ready for kindergarten, what happens? They're bored, they're fidgeting, they're not paying attention, and what happens next? Oh, your child has ADHD, your child needs medication. Then we medicate the child. What happens to their chances of graduating high school now? Now, we've medicated them at such an early age only because they were bored, because they were ready. So when people say, what demographics are you going after? Children. Okay. So it is a Lake Park thing because we're based out of Lake Park, but it's not a Lake Park thing because guess what? Your grandchildren or your children, I don't mean to say grandchildren. Like,
Oh yeah, I got them.
But because I'm a grandfather, so I could grandchildren. That's the
I'm a
focus.
great-grand.
But congratulations. So
Great-great-grand.
what happens is our communities are so close together. There's no telling when your grandchildren are going to, or your daughter or son is going to move to Lake Park, and now this child is going to Lake Park Elementary. So, you're talking about crossing the street on Silver Beach. If you rent on this side or you rent on this side, can determine what town you live in.
Okay. Well, one of the things that I've been focusing on all summer, at least before the summer, was the idea of a lot of people coming up with these new non-for-profit organizations, and a lot of people are making money. Not saying that anyone is trying to do that in this room, but there's a lot of people that have discovered that word high risk. And they come in and get money off of high risk. They come in and get money off of the idea of our children being in a terrible condition. Yeah, but
Simple, just say it. Exploitation.
Yeah, but I think that kind of activity is really the ignorance that is prevailing inside our society. And I think that lane was opened up so that people could make money.
They will weed themselves out.
And that's what we're doing now. We here at Coffee Talk, we try to make a serious attempt to have a conversation.
We gonna vet this situation
so that we could see exactly what it is that we have to offer. And then, I always say you don't have to condemn a dirty glass. You just set a clean glass up beside it. And when the person get ready to get their drink,
they're going to pick up the clean
pick
glass.
up the one that
well,
that's
just to clear the air, so that you don't have to make another disclaimer like that. I don't have grants. Okay, okay, I don't have grants, and we've been doing this for 2 years.
Okay.
You know how that's been done?
Okay.
Okay, no one finances us. Between myself and Cindi Wildcastle, we've done this because we wanted to do it.
But we've also had support.
Not that we didn't have support.
We've also had support. For instance, the town of Lake Park has been gracious enough because we feed the parents and we provide child watch. And we do that through another nonprofit agency. The town of Lake Park gave us gift cards to purchase food every month for a year and just told us that they're going to re-up for the next year. So we've had support. We've had people that have donated their time. We've had a local child care owner come in and give the parents some developmental tips on various ages and do an activity with the parents for the parents to go home and do it with their children. We have many different, we bring, like I said, we work from our kindergarten readiness checklist, and we have a topic, we break it down throughout the year, and I'll bring a topic in about kids getting enough sleep, setting up bedtime routines. That sparked a whole conversation of parents in the room that, oh, I'm having a problem with my child getting to sleep. So me as the professional, I don't answer those questions until the parents in the room have had the opportunity. So Joe, who leads the meeting, says, okay, anybody else have any experience getting your toddler to sleep? And the parents just go one after the other. Oh, I have that problem too, or I had that problem, or this is how I handled it. And so they truly are supporting each other because it is parent to parent. It is not solely about the professionals, because sometimes when it comes to the professionals, some parents can't relate, and some parents don't know where to go, and so the parents are phenomenal, and the bonds that have happened. We have parents in the room that would not have met each other on the street. They wouldn't have met each other in any other fashion. They come from different walks of life, different age groups. They've created a bond to the point that now they're helping give each other some relief. So I'll watch your kids this Friday night so you and your husband can go out, and you'll keep my kids next Friday night so you can get a break.
But
Go ahead, Marco.
No, I just wanted to find out really what kind of direction. Say, like if I'm a person, I just come in today, I'm one of your new parents. What kind of role would you put me on in order for me to retrieve some information that would help you and help myself?
Well, the first thing that we would do is we would give you the initial packet where we would show you the survey. We would give you the survey, the kindergarten readiness survey that was developed by the action item that started the group. We would then give you the kindergarten readiness checklist so that you have, because it covers social, developmental, health, it covers many different areas. And we would then give you some of the activities that we have done in the past, and then we would ask you, are you having any particular issues? And if you say no, then we would give you information about developmental stages for the age of your child and what to expect. We could refer you to various agencies in the community that we know if you identify a problem, let's say. We could link you with different agencies in the community that provide specific services to that need. So we would first find out what it is, where you at, what it is you're doing with your child, and or if you're having any challenges or successes. And we would invite you to participate in the monthly group to be able to learn from each other, but also share what you're doing that's working for you.
Just to piggyback off of what she said, when you ask what would we give a parent just walking in?
Yeah, you know, I'm walking in, I'm pulling in the gas station, I want some gas in my car.
The first thing that we realize is there's not a lot of parents who believe they're doing a bad job, okay? Being a child's first educator, education starting at home, I never knew that I was doing a horrible job when I was doing a horrible job, okay? I didn't wake up one morning and go, you know what? I'm going to mess my child up for kindergarten, okay? No. To me, getting my child ready for kindergarten was buying a backpack, new pair of shoes, clean outfit on, teeth brush, you're ready for your first day. And I thought the responsibility started with the kindergarten teacher. That's the mentality of most parents. Okay, so it's not an intentional thing. So the first thing to do is to assess the parent to make sure that they understand what the need is. Okay, because if you ask the average parent, is your child ready for kindergarten? Absolutely. She can say, Dad, you should see her. She know how to whip it, nay. She is, you know. But this is the mentality of not knowing. Not knowing is the worst part. Okay. So just making them aware of what it takes to get a child ready for kindergarten and where that child should be on the first day is the first step. Okay.
Well, you know, we had the gentleman that invited everybody out today, our big brother, Mr. Senator Powell. How you doing today, Brother Powell?
Thank you, brother.
Senator Bobby Powell.
Thank you, Brother Carl. It's good to be here. I'm glad to be here. Running a little behind, had some things that were going on. And I want to jump right into that same conversation with you all. Joe and Cindi, as you talk, I heard the part where you said, you know, you don't get any real funding from anybody with regards to grants. And I've seen where a lot of people start things without that support from the outside. We're talking about grant related. Some people wait to get those things. What's your internal drive? What is the impetus that keeps you all moving, even sometimes when I know something like this is not what a lot of people are passionate and committed to?
Well, for me, I realized that I've been working with children and families in Palm Beach County for over 30 years on various levels. And so I have a background in working with, doing things like the Toddler Time to Play group, doing parent support groups. I have a background as a doula and a childbirth educator and a breastfeeding specialist. So I've worked in social services for over 30 years. And I have children. I have grandchildren. I live in the town that I work in, and I'm getting old. And at some point, I'm going to have to depend on these same children, that not just the ones I gave birth to, but the ones that live next door, the ones that live down the block, to keep things moving in a positive direction. And if those children, the statistics show that if a child's not prepared for kindergarten, and they start behind that 8 ball, so to speak, then the odds of them being ready are on grade level by 3rd grade or less. And the statistics also show that if they're not on grade level by third grade, then they're more likely to drop out of high school. And I don't think I have to tell anybody in this room or anybody that may be listening the ramifications of children dropping out of high school. So I don't want my future or my grandchildren's future to depend on high school dropouts. So if we teach the parents one thing, that you are your child's first teacher, and give them avenues to relate to each other, to share information, to get professional help when they need it, that's the main message. We're not teachers.
I'll tell you a funny thing about that. When you ask, what's the motivating drive? What made you decide to get in this? When I first moved to West Palm Beach area, I had already established a few businesses in my lifetime, for-profit businesses. The concept of nonprofit was so far-fetched, okay? But I started volunteering for nonprofit organizations, and to see the impact that, you know, they say, be the change you would like to see. You know, so that's my motivation, is to be the change that I would like to see in the community. We've all sat back, and you weren't here earlier when we was discussing, you know, the mentality of communities in a whole, where it's someone else's problem. It's the politician's problem. It's the school board's problem. Oh, they're failing us. But taking that initiative to start at home and to see that change develop in the community, that's my motivation for it. And we see that constantly with the parents. We had a fundraiser, and we had some of the parents come to like give their testimony because, you know, you're giving money to what? You got to have the parents there to say, well, yeah, this is what we're doing.
Right.
So the parents showed up, and I was expecting testimony of how great Joe was. You know, Joe's great. Joe's an awesome guy. When they started talking about the small things, that how this parent didn't have a room to breathe. She felt like smothered. You know, all she do is work and watch children, and work and watch children. She don't have time to get her hair done. And one of the parents called her and said, you know what? We discussed that in the group. You know, I'll watch your child this weekend so you can get that breather. You know, do you know just that split second could be the difference between a healthy child and an abused child? So these are the things that we're taking on, literally. So those type of moments is what lets you know your program is working. What you're setting out to do is working. The people are communicating. The people are building on their own, within themselves.
Well, let me ask you a question, Mr. Powell. I know you gave us the idea of bringing in Lake Park, which I appreciate, because we do have 30-something municipalities inside of Palm Beach County, and we know that there should be some activity. There has been some activity during the summer months. How many groups do you have, Bobby, that have made contact with you? I know that you've been reaching out extensively this past year. Have there been any other groups in any other sectors of the county? And my reason for asking...
Absolutely. I'm glad that you asked that question. As you know, Riviera Beach also has a summer youth employment program that's going on right now. It's been started up by Chief Clarence Williams and Ms. Lynn Hubbard. As always, West Palm Beach has a number of programs. As a matter of fact, I'll be in West Palm Beach at the Police Athletic League. They meet up every night, and even on Saturdays, I think it's from 1 in the afternoon until 6 or 7 at night, where they have programming for our youth. So there's several other organizations in the community that are reaching out, doing the same things. No, not the same things, I'm sorry. During providing services for our youth that, such as Mr. Rice and Ms. Cindi Wild Castle are doing. And I think it's important that we recognize those groups and we continue to work with them. One of the things that Joe and Cindi were talking about earlier is this idea that you can take one child and that child can disturb everything when you put them in a classroom. As I know, I was a teacher I was in a classroom for 3-4 years, and we're talking about 10 years ago. And because of those same situations, unfortunately, I made sure I did not stay inside of a classroom, because I know it only takes one. And you both were talking about the outside factors, right? I remember a kid coming into class telling me, and this was a kid who was in 2nd grade, that he had witnessed his mother be murdered by his father. So think about the psychological issues that the kids are dealing with, and how could something like that happen? Do people not have any real effect of what they're doing to their children? And we can even think about what we see in society today, when you can hear parents literally cursing their children out, saying the F word.
Absolutely.
These kids are less than old enough to really understand what the F word means, but not spending enough time with them, going through flashcards and teaching them how to do their math and learning spelling words. I can tell you as a child, and my mom was a sickly mom, right? My mom, I can tell you a lot of things that you may not know because we had a real struggle. And my mom had a brain tumor, her first brain tumor when I was 5 years old. But do you think that stopped her from sitting down at the table with me and showing me flashcards when I was in kindergarten? No. And the ones who were behind me doing the same things? But that's not what we're seeing a lot of today. So I do commend Joe and Cindi for what you're doing, because a lot of us don't see the importance of it, nor are we paying attention to it. The saddest thing in the world is we were giving out books for one of the back-to-school programs. And by the way, there's one July 29th. I'll be in Jupiter at the back-to-school giveaway up at the stadium, Roger Dean. And I also try to make my way back down the Bible Way on the 29th. And there's also a number of back-to-school giveaways where we'll be pushing that out through our office. I know Lake Park has some, but I need to push that information out. That's not what we're going to do right now. There's a lot of things going on in the community that a lot of times we just don't talk about, or we just don't know about.
Right.
And we have to have the communication device to do it. One of the things that we're working on is that Instagram. I'm on Instagram, Senator Powell, P-O-W. On Instagram, Senator Powell, and also the Facebook page, my Facebook page, and our email addresses. We're continuing to work, but I commend what you're doing. And I want to just get back to that same point that you all were talking about earlier. How do you fix it when you know there's one kid in the classroom?
Going back to what you just said about the flashcards, let's take that for example. People will hear you say that. My mother taught me with flashcards. The issue with that is your mother knew how to teach with flashcards, regardless to where she learned it from. We always hear, teach your child with flashcards. We've all been on this side of flashcards. How many parents know the technique of teaching their child with flashcards?
Or a technique.
Or any technique, okay? And then the ones that don't know it, because of the diversity and maybe that gap in communication, do they know where to get the information from? So we also want to be a navigational site to where we don't have all the answers, but I know someone who does, okay? So with the flashcard thing, I'll give you an example of what we did. We had a session where we dealt with flashcards. So we had the children in one room, and they were decorating their flashcards, okay? Decorating them. We took them and laminated the flashcards. While they were decorating the flashcards, we had an early childhood specialist come in and taught the parents how to use flashcards with their children. So now we laminated the flashcards so that they can use dry erase marker on them, gave them a copy of the sight words that they should know before kindergarten, and now the children are excited because this is their flashcard. They decorated this flashcard, and the parent now has the tool to teach their children using flashcards. So it's very important that we understand that the medium between programs like ours, programs like yours, all the programs Senator Powell was talking about, the medium to that are the parents. Because you can teach a child all day long, but if it goes home and it's watching murderers and it has an unhealthy environment at home, you just wasted your time.
You know, we can sit here and I like this. I'm real concerned about my 8.3 square miles. That's Rivera Beach going around. But y'all are my next door neighbors, so I got to extend. And I know Senator Powell mentioned this last week about the education, the kindergarten thing in Rivera Beach. We have got to get that off the ground right this minute. Parent engagement, community engagement. How do we get this into the community, Senator Powell? Because that's my biggest part. That on the task force, superintendent task force dynamic, those are our main two things. We used to have this list
of 11
different things, and we went into a meeting, and the superintendent narrowed it down to 3 things. parent engagement, community engagement, and attendance.
Mm-hmm.
If we can get all the information that's in this room to the people, to the parents, to the community, we can make this happen.
I'll give you a couple suggestions of what's worked for us in Lake Park. One, every month we have a raffle for the parents. We get things donated. Everybody that comes in gets a raffle ticket. Everyone that replied to the reminder text gets an extra raffle ticket. We feed them. We feed them, parents and children. We feed them. We feed them dinner. We don't just, that's helpful because we're asking them to come from 5 to 7 once a month at dinner time. And that's the time that they would be at home preparing dinner, getting their kids ready for bed. So we take that out of the equation. So we feed them. We also, again, have that, and we've gotten things donated. And that's an incentive. They love that. Even the ones that sometimes it's just a little bag that has preschool workbooks in it, and different activities they can do at home. There's first of all, every raffle item has an educational piece for the parents to take home with the children. It could be a storybook. It could be phonics. It could be whatever it is, but it's related to early childhood education. That's a given.
I think it's important to, Cindi probably won't say it because it's about herself, but I think they come because Cindy's knowledge base in this area is astronomical, okay? And that's maybe selling it short, to say the least, okay? But she's reachable. So, see, we got to go back to that. You can have 11 agencies, you can have 11,000 agencies with all the knowledge in the world. If they don't speak the language of the people, meaning they're reachable, it's useless. You have to, if the people can't get the information, like you said, we have to find a way to disseminate the information to the people. We have to get it in their hands, or else it's a closed book. Mm-hmm. So we have to be in the trenches with the people, sitting behind your desk, saying I'm the executive director, parent-to-parent group. It's not getting anything done.
That's correct.
So unless you have that knowledge and they can reach that knowledge and draw from it in a casual setting, no one wants to be preached to about how horrible of a parent they are. Okay? So the way she gives this information is key. It's key because I tell them all the time, I'm not the expert in early childhood development here. She is.
Mm-hmm. The other piece too is our parent-to-parent group meets at the Lake Park Library. So we're bringing people into the library that may have never been in the library. So our point is to try and back in the day when I first trained to be a childbirth educator through FOSAP, which was Florida Outreach Childbirth Education Program, it had a literacy component. I taught childbirth classes at Palm Beach Lakes High School in the night school setting, so that bringing people back in. So that goes way back. So I've always had that concept of keeping the literacy component in everything I do, whether it be for young children or for adult learners. So having the actual parent-to-parent group meet in the Lake Park Library, now they're getting exposure to the children and the parents to what's going on in the Lake Park Library, because they do lots of wonderful programs.
Let me break in, Cindi, and what you said and what Joe just said, it sounds like it's organic and that you would be the right person. I would like to know if it has been said, maybe I didn't hear it because maybe I wasn't in the room. How many people are you serving? How do you grow it? And also, how do we, expanding in terms of making it something that we can duplicate in other areas?
Exactly.
As you talk about, it sounds like, Joe, you're saying Cindy's the right person. And a lot of times, that's what it takes for a program
Absolutely.
to work. It has to be the right person. So how do we grow that?
Well,
and how many people are you currently serving, and how long have you been serving?
I'll recap real quick. We came out of the Strong Starts Dialogue group. Okay, it's through Everyday Democracy, and that focus group started with about, I think we had maybe 11 people in that group, 11 to 15, somewhere around there. people in that group. At the end of that group, we continued to meet. Long story short, we started meeting with maybe about 5-6 parents. We currently have over 70 parents on our master roster list, which equates to about 130, 140 children.
Of various ages.
Of various ages.
Because some families may have a kindergartner and a high schooler.
Yes. The way we duplicate that, and what we want to do in the future is teach parents. Okay, for instance, on our board is a parent. Okay, and we will always have a parent on our board because this is your organization. So you should have a say-so in how it's ran. Getting them involved, first of all, and giving them a sense of purpose is going to help them be motivated to be the change that they want to see. Okay, now the way we can multiply this is by bringing parents on, teaching them how to facilitate a group in their community. Okay, bringing other agencies on board and partnering with other agencies and saying, hey, look, Brother Carl, you have an agency, you have this many parents. Okay, let's invite his parents to parent groups, kindergarten readiness group, or teach them how to facilitate their own group within his facility, because we can't be everywhere at all times.
And I agree with you. And we only have a few more minutes. Bobby, you got any closing thoughts?
Only closing thought is, remember, this is another big week. We need to pay attention, make sure we're doing the things that will help the community. A life of service is indeed a life that counts. I'll be leaving here to join Calvary Baptist Church on 36th Street in West Palm Beach for the Bethune-Cookman University Day of Worship. So if you are not doing anything or you aren't going to church this morning, join us as we worship with Bethune-Cookman University at Calvary Church this morning.
Bob,
This sounds really, really well. And this is the kind of program that we're looking for over in Riviera Beach. I'm going to be hitting out to you guys so that I can get some information, because we got so many things going on in Riviera Beach that I think we're missing the mark on our children. And I guess I'll be the catalyst to bring that up. Okay, brother.
You said first communication and connecting, so I just want to make sure that everyone who hears this knows that our website is parent2parentgroup.com. Go on there, and it's parent2, the number 2, parent2parentgroup.com. So go on there, all our information is on there. You can sign up for our newsletter. Also make sure, hit that donation button. We've said it before, we don't have grants, so we are dependent on our community to take care of our community.
and as we get out the way and try to make way for the Smooths to come on the air, I want to, Bobby, this is some of the activity that I was talking about that we need inside of our community, and I do believe with you sitting in the Senate seat that you do have the ability to expose a lot of this activity. But I do want to ask you to also reach out to the mayor of West Palm Beach. She has an African American Advisory Council now, and they're focusing their energy on enhancing quality of life, economic opportunity and equity and accountability, and improving academics inside of the city of West Palm Beach. And I know that, when we identify Montgomery Park or Lake Park or any one of these cities, I think it's important that we find out what is deposited inside of these corridors and how we might be better suited in order to make a team. And I always think about a team, like football.
Yeah.
Need some ends, need some tackles, need some guards.
Everyone plays their role.
And everybody play their role, and then we'll be able to take Palm Beach County and challenge Dade, Broward, Duval, Pinellas, or some of these other counties, so that we can really see what we have deposited inside of Palm Beach County for the benefit of our residents and the state of Florida. I want to thank y'all for stopping by.
That's what I was about to say. I want to thank you, Brother Carl, for having us on your show and giving us the opportunity to reach people that we may not have had the opportunity to reach before.
And that's the way it works.
Whenever you want us back, I'll be here with bells on.
Well, we got Senator Powell. He's putting it together, and I'm trying to stay on you, Bobby, because I do believe that we need a drum major.
Yes.
Right, inside of this county, and we haven't been able to find it just because I've been asking for them. We're bringing them in here, but they're not ready to point the direction.
Well, thank you. I got a championship team, and we'll continue to run. So we've got a lot of things going on, and together we can accomplish all.
And with Coffee Talk, when we get ready to leave you we're always happy.
Happy. Thank you. Man, y'all ain't let me talk that much, but I'm good. I'm cool.
That's because I
I'm
talk
cool.
too much.